What was your biggest mistake in real estate?
I think my biggest mistake was expanding to geography that I wasn't very familiar with.
Yeah.
And the opportunity cost of those decisions are not great because my return was not phenomenal. Like I lost about $20,000 on my DC home, which doesn't really matter, but it's annoying. I could have used that money, let's say, to buy crypto at the time, right? Like if I used that cash, I started doing a lot of cash deals, and cash deals are dangerous if you buy condos that are unwarrantable, like non-warrantable by lenders, right? So these are HOAs that are majority owned by like Joe Schmo person. They tend to be mismanaged. There tend to be some embezzling going on. There tends to be some bad stuff happening. And so because my first two investments were condos, I got very arrogant thinking that I had the Midas touch. I was like, I'm the freaking condo genius. I think I can just like turn out 6 figures every single condo I touch.
Yeah.
And theoretically, yes, I picked the right locations and I was there at the right time, but I bought the wrong home. I bought the wrong condo in the wrong condo association. So you actually lose a lot of money when you make bad decisions like that, because in real estate, as you know, it takes a while to exit the investment. You know, because you're renting it, you're getting a couple tenants, you're figuring it out, you're getting to know the HOA, and you're like, oh, this one sucks. Like, what are you gonna do? Sell, right? Like, get the hell on out. Like, I'm not gonna.
How did you lose $20K specifically?
So, like, some of it was tenant damage, some of it was unit damage from up above. So usually it's tied to the building being mismanaged. There's people that either don't have insurance on their units, so then you can't claim, you can't go after them. And then I tried to file small claims and that didn't work. So it's just like when you're dealing with multiple factors outside of your control, it doesn't matter how good of a job you do. If they keep leaking, you're going to keep suffering. Right?
Did they have a water leak or something?
There was a water leak and then they weren't going to pay me for it. And it was very nasty. And the person who owned it owned the majority of the condos in the area. So, you know, you have this issue with like lawsuits, with all this stuff. So it just got to be, I was like, I got to dip. I got to go.
For
right?
sure.
So you always have to make that call. Same with the other condo complex. There was like feces at one point in the common laundry room where, like, unfortunately, people who were unhoused were, you know, camping out in the laundry room. So again, these are just rundown condos that people shouldn't buy. But if you're out of state and you don't know any better and you see the price tag and you do the simple math of, oh, well, the rental is 10% or more, I'm going to get it. That's a good percentage return. If you're looking at it so simply, you might fall into the trap of buying a pretty bad investment. So that happened to me, you know, like with the condo in Denver, with the condo in DC, somewhat with the condo in Massachusetts.
Why condos? Like I hate condos. I love single family or multifamily, but why condos for you?
For me, it was just because, again, back to my first two experiences were condos. And the first condo I invested jumped by quite a bit. The second one I invested in was relatively also painless. At that time, I also started buying multifamilies and singles, but I just felt like condos were cheaper, easier to buy all cash. At that point, I was self-employed. And as a self-employed person, especially if you want to buy something during COVID, it has to be all cash because COVID rules really changed lending for self-employed people like myself. And so I wanted to get in on certain locations and I didn't have enough to do, you know, all cash homes, but I could do all cash condos. And I figured I knew enough and that the condo would just appreciate. And again, some of those bets were incorrect.